By January of 1971, the New York 21 were fed up. They were sick and tired of being ignored by their own comrades. They had sent letter after letter to the Oakland Central Committee, namely David Hilliard, and they were getting nothing but radio silence. The New York 21 were fighting a major case, and they needed all the support they could get. If they couldn't get that support from their own organization, then they would reach out to other groups instead. The New York 21 wrote an open letter to the radical far-left, mostly white organization known as the Weather Underground. This letter was published in the January edition of the East Village Other. In this open letter, the New York 21 praised the Weather Underground's radical activities, which included physical confrontations with the police and the bombing of public buildings, which is exactly what the New York 21 Black Panthers were legally being accused of planning. In the letter, they also stated they stand in solidarity with the Weather Underground, and they also offered some advice to the group. But what the New York 21 presented as advice was actually just sneak disses toward the Oakland leadership of the Panthers. For example, one excerpt reads, quote, "We have seen our comrades in arms sit in maximum security and dig the contradictions out in the streets, get bailed out, and then not be able to deal with it head on, so that finally they too become co-opted by this bullshit and now cannot confront us, cannot look us in the eye." End quote. This is a very obvious shot at Huey P. Newton, who had just bonded out of jail a few months ago, but was now co-signing the Oakland leadership's bureaucratic and non-supportive behavior. Basically, the New York 21 was telling the Weather Underground not to end up like the bullshit leaders of the Panthers out in Oakland. The letter also states, quote, "We realize that risk must be taken. Some will die, others will replace them, or us. Revolution is violence. Revolution is war. Revolution is bloodshed." End quote. This highlights the widening difference in ideology of the East Coast / Eldridge Cleaver back faction of the Panthers versus the West Coast / Huey P. Newton faction. The New York 21 are calling the West Coast guys out in Oakland cowards and not real revolutionaries. Obviously, this did not sit well with the Oakland Central Committee. This was the first time that Black Panthers had publicly talked about their internal issues within the party. But the Oakland leadership wouldn't respond. Not yet, at least. On February 4th, 1971, Huey is a guest speaker at Yale University. But Huey had went to Yale with several other Panthers, including Michael Tabor and Richard Moore. Both of these guys were a part of the New York 21. While they're out visiting Yale, Michael Tabor attempted to speak with Huey and David Hilliard about the New York 21 case in order to try to get some support from the Oakland Central Committee. This didn't work at all. Huey and David were not trying to hear it. When Huey finished his final speech at Yale, he discovered that Michael Tabor and Richard Moore had abandoned him. They were nowhere to be found. Not only that, they also took some Black Panther documents and some funds with them. Since they couldn't get any support from Huey and the Oakland Central Committee, I guess they felt like Denzel Washington.
I'm leaving here with something. You know what I mean? I'm from around the way. I'm leaving with something.
But Tabor and Moore weren't done yet. They were on some petty type time for real, because that same day they go to a radio station and announce that they're choosing to separate themselves from Huey and the Oakland leadership. A few days after that, they show up in Algeria with Eldridge Cleaver. Keep in mind, they were a part of the New York 21, which means they were actively on trial for a very serious allegations. They were out on bond, a big ass bond that the Oakland Central Committee had paid for. Michael Tabor and Richard Moore had just jumped bail, and the Oakland leadership was not happy about this at all. Huey, David Hilliard, and the rest of the guys out in Oakland have finally had enough with the New York Panthers. Huey releases a statement informing all Panthers that the entire New York 21 has been expelled from the Black Panther Party. No one is to aid or assist them in any way. Huey also uses this moment to address the open letter that the New York 21 sent to the Weather Underground. Huey accuses the New York 21 of selling out the black community, and he insults the Weather Underground by referring to them as young white kids simply wanting to live out some revolutionary fantasy. But even still, this is just a beef between Oakland and the New York 21. There's still no concrete split in leadership yet, even though people are beginning to talk. Huey would attempt to dispel these rumors on February 26, 1971 by going on a live TV show called AM and having Eldridge call into the show and let the world know that the Black Panthers were still united. That is not what would end up happening though. When Eldridge got on the phone, he immediately began talking shit about the entire Oakland leadership on live TV. Eldridge demands that Huey denounce David Hilliard and reinstate Geronimo Pratt and all the New York 21 members that were expelled. He also criticized the direction the Black Panthers were headed in. Quote, "The fact is, there's a split in the party. The right wing has seized the reins of leadership and put a muzzle on the Panther. The Vanguard Party has become a breakfast for children club. Babylon is quiet. Pigs are comfortable. Why? Because the Vanguard is cooking fucking breakfast instead of drawing guns." End quote. This obviously embarrassed the hell out of Huey, and he wasn't willing to just take that L. Huey informs Eldridge that his faction of the Panthers, known as the Intercommunal Section, was expelled from the party.
Eldridge, we're about out of time. Do you have anything you want to say to any of your followers here in the Bay Area?
Well, I just want to comment on the expulsion of the New York 21 because it looks to us as though, as a result of the actions taken by David Hilliard over a long period of time, the party has fallen apart at the seams.
Okay, fine. Good to talk to you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
To the people.
Okay.
Mr. Cleaver?
Yes.
Just hold on.
Eldridge.
Hey, what's happening?
Yeah, you got the bombshell this morning. Well, very embarrassing for me. So, I'm warning you now, or notifying you, that the intercommunal section, you hear?
Yeah?
The intercommunal section is expelled.
That's not the best way to deal with that.
Well, this is the way I'm going to deal with it.
Well, then I think you're a madman too, brother.
But I'm not a coward like you, brother, because you run off and get little Bobby Hutton killed. But I stay here and face the gas, you see? So you're a coward and you're a punk. You understand?
I think you've lost your ability to reason, brother.
Hey, brother, you heard what I call you. That's what I feel about you now. You're a punk.
At this point, it's all personal insults and attacks between the two. Huey blames Eldridge for getting Bobby Hutton killed. Huey calls Eldridge a punk and a coward for fleeing the country instead of fighting his case like he did. Huey even threatens to get Eldridge's political asylum revoked. Eldridge had been traveling to various communist countries like China and North Korea during his exile. He was only able to do so as a representative of the Black Panther parties, which is an organization these countries recognized. Huey is telling Eldridge that he's going to write to all of these countries and let them know that Eldridge is no longer a part of the Panthers, in the hopes that they'll kick Eldridge out. The phone call ends with some pretty ominous threats. Huey tells Eldridge that he wants to battle it out and that he has guns to do so. Eldridge responds, letting Huey know that he has guns as well. Huey then says, quote, "Alright, you put yours to work and I'll put mine to work." End quote. The split within the Black Panthers is official. A line in the sand has been drawn. It's Huey and the West Coast Panthers versus Eldridge and the East Coast Panthers. On March 6, 1971, the Black Panther newspaper releases an issue with a photo of Eldridge's wife, Kathleen, on the front page with a headline that read, "Free Kathleen Cleaver and all political prisoners." The problem is, Kathleen Cleaver was not in prison. She was in Algeria with her husband, Eldridge. This article was written by Elaine Brown, who was the Deputy Minister of Information for the Panthers, and she makes some pretty damning claims about Eldridge in this article. She claimed that Eldridge was essentially holding Kathleen hostage. He was beating her, and he was having an affair with an 18-year-old woman in Algeria. She also claims that Eldridge had unalived a black man for flirting with Kathleen. At this point, the beef is just as personal as it is ideological. Shots have officially been fired. No, literally, real shots would be fired due to this newspaper. 2 days after this issue is released, Robert Webb, a member of the Harlem Black Panthers, is shot and unalived in Harlem on the corner of 7th Ave and 125th Street. Allegedly, there were 3 members from Oakland that were out in New York passing out that Free Kathleen issue of the newspaper. Robert Webb, who was a prominent member of the New York Panthers, attempted to snatch the newspaper out of their hands. This led to a confrontation and eventual shots. Members of the New York Panthers stated that Robert Webb was shot in the back of the head and the bullet exited through his mouth. Both the police and the New York Panthers believed that this shooting was in relation to the ongoing beef between the two sides of the party. Unfortunately, this wouldn't be the last death involved in this beef. On April 3rd, 1971, the Eldridge Cleaver aligned faction of the Panthers released an issue of a newspaper called Right On. This issue would serve as a gigantic fuck you to the entire Oakland-based leadership. The very first article in this issue of Right On is called A Call to Dissolve the Central Committee. The very first sentence of this article literally says it all. Quote, "The pathetic state of affairs that exists within the Black Panther Party falls absolutely at the feet of David Hilliard and the other cowardly members of the Central Committee who are aligned to him." End quote. This article would claim that David Hilliard and his brother June never trusted the New York Panthers and that they would send Oakland representatives to New York in an attempt to babysit and control the New York chapters of the party. This newspaper would also allege that Eldridge Cleaver had recommended that Fred Hampton be made a member of the Central Committee long before his death, and that Huey had approved of this from jail, but David Hilliard blocked it from happening anyways. Throughout this newspaper, there are claims made that the Black Panther meetings were really just worship Huey sessions and that Huey was responsible for enabling the Oakland Central Committee in this behavior of obsessive control and centralization. The paper also goes into personal issues like the fact that Huey was living in a $650 a month penthouse and David Hilliard had recently purchased a $65,000 home when members of the New Haven chapter of the Panthers were living in their headquarters that had no heat or running water. They also alleged that Robert Webb's death was ordered by Huey and that the FBI had contacted several members of the New York Panthers prior to Webb's death and warned them that Oakland was planning on sending 75 Panthers to New York to exterminate New York members. Eldridge Cleaver himself writes an article in this issue of Right On titled On the Contradictions Within the Black Panther Party. In this article, Cleaver accuses David Hilliard of making the party overly bureaucratic and political as opposed to revolutionary. Cleaver claims that David was only able to do this after Huey was in prison, and Cleaver believes that David fed Huey a bunch of lies and half-truths in order to manipulate him into siding with the Oakland leadership when he got out of prison. Eldridge Cleaver is claiming that Huey has never been made aware of all of the problems and changes that occurred to the party while he was incarcerated. Basically, he's calling David Hilliard a puppet master. 14 days later, on April 17, 1971, Samuel Napier was found unalive in a burned down building in Queens, New York. Sam was a member from Oakland who was sent to New York to help distribute the Black Panther newspaper, the same paper that published that Free Kathleen article. The police found his body tied up and gagged, and he had 3 bullet wounds in his torso and 3 more in his head. The police believe Sam's murder was due to the East Coast and West Coast beef. On this very same day of April 17th, the Black Panther newspaper released an article written by Huey P. Newton titled On the Defection of Eldridge Cleaver from the Black Panther Party and the Defection of the Black Panther Party from the Black Community. In this article, Huey lays out where he believes the disagreement between Eldridge and himself stems from. Huey believes that Eldridge never understood the entire point of the Black Panthers. The Panthers were never just about shooting at the police. They were about liberation. Huey includes a quote from Mao Zedong. Quote, "We are advocates of the abolition of war. We do not want war, but war can only be abolished through war. And in order to get rid of the gun, it is necessary to take up the gun." End quote. Huey is saying that there's a time and a place for everything. Sometimes you have to shoot your gun, sometimes you have to politic and compromise with the powers that be. Huey believes that Eldridge does not understand this because Eldridge was convinced to join only after witnessing the Panthers stand off against the police when they were escorting Betty Shabazz to the Ramparts office building. Eldridge thought this was what the Panthers were all about, but Huey is saying they were never just about that. Huey also says, quote, Eldridge Cleaver influenced us to isolate ourselves from the black community, so that it was war between the oppressor and the Black Panther Party, not war between the oppressor and the oppressed community, end quote. Whether Eldridge and Huey understood this or not, their beef was the writing on the wall. The party was all but over. While they were battling it out through the newspapers and on the airwaves, most party members across the country were simply disgusted by this level of division and infighting. Members were quitting by the hundreds at this point. They signed up to fight against the man, not each other. Huey himself will begin to shy further and further away from the radical side of the party by taking back extreme statements he had said earlier in the Black Panthers' history, such as when he had stated that he wanted to send Black Panthers to Vietnam to fight against American soldiers. He also began referring to far-left members of the party as revolutionary cultists and accused people like Eldridge of being guilty of adventurism, which is the desire to engage in violent acts, not for the revolution's sake, but for their own personal pleasure and desires. By early 1972, Newton had ordered the closure of most of the Panther chapters outside of Oakland, as he wanted to zero his focus on building political power in the area. Bobby Seale would go on to run for mayor, Elaine Brown would go on to run for city council, and other members would run for various offices in Oakland. Keep in mind that Huey had previously stated, quote, "We will never run for political office, but we will endorse and support those candidates who are acting in the true interest of the people. This would not be out of commitment to electoral politics, however." It certainly seems as if Huey was completely done with the revolution. He was ready to submit to societal norms. Unsurprisingly, neither Bobby Seale nor Elaine Brown won their elections, and this loss caused even more members to quit the Black Panthers. The party was over. In 1974, Huey further purged the Black Panthers by expelling, well, pretty much everyone who was left. Bobby Seale, David Hilliard, June Hilliard, and various other leaders of the party. This purge would obviously cause whoever was left in the party to leave as well. Also in 74, Huey was charged with the murder of a 17-year-old lady of the night named Kathleen Smith. He fled to Cuba to avoid prosecution and left Elaine Brown as the leader of the Panthers. However, he would return to America in 1977, and he ended up beating that murder case, primarily due to witness tampering, but that's a video in and of itself. When Huey returned as the leader of the Black Panthers, he only made things worse. He authorized the physical beating of a female administrator at the Panther-funded Oakland Community School, which resulted in her having a broken jaw. The reason for the beating was because she had reprimanded a male co-worker, and some of the male Black Panthers were complaining how the female Black Panthers no longer knew their place. This incident caused Elaine Brown to leave the party as well. By 1980, there were only 27 official Black Panther members left, and in 1982, the Panther-funded Oakland Community School was shut down due to a scandal that alleged Huey was embezzling school funds to support his drug habit. This moment is considered the official end of the Black Panther Party. On August 22nd, 1989, Huey P. Newton is shot and unalived in Oakland by a crack dealer and gang member named Tyrone Robinson. Rest in peace. What about Eldridge Cleaver? Surely he had a happy ending, right? Well, Cleaver left Algeria in 1972 to move to France, where he became a born-again Christian. He returned to America in 1975 and finally went to trial for that 1968 shootout with the police. He was facing attempted murder charges, but somehow he was able to get the charges dropped to assault, and he was given probation. This is the luckiest nigga on earth. Eldridge then set up shop in Los Angeles, and he was selling his own clothing, including his infamous cleavers, which were pants that contained a cod piece. What you are seeing on the screen right now is real. This is not a joke. Eldridge claimed these pants were designed to give men, quote, a chance to assert their masculinity and to break free from, quote, PP bindings, end quote. In the 1980s, Eldridge became a conservative Republican, despite the fact that one of the biggest issues that he had with the Oakland-based leadership of the Panthers was that they were too conservative. This is the perfect example of you either die a hero or live long enough to become the villain. This man was now a born-again Christian and a Republican. He had become everything he vowed to destroy. It was around this time that Eldridge also became addicted to crack cocaine, and he would be arrested multiple times for drug possession throughout the 80s before entering rehab in 1990. On May 1st, 1998, Eldridge Cleaver died from a heart attack. Rest in peace. Well, that's it. That's the end of the video. If you made it through the whole thing, I appreciate you. But what can we take from this story? I think that when you're young, you get really emotional and passionate about these social issues. So much so that you're willing to do anything for your beliefs. You'll fight the police, tie yourself to a tree, protest all day and night, etc. But when you get older, you kind of realize you were being over the top and that it was less about the social and political issues and more about wanting to find some sort of identity. The Black Panthers definitely had a righteous cause. Black people were absolutely being treated horribly during the 60s and 70s, but I think their own personal desires and ambitions got in the way. I think many of the Panther leaders wanted to be heroes, famous, and we see a lot of that in today's activism. Jill Scott Heron said the revolution will not be televised, and he was absolutely right. The revolution will never be televised because the revolution ain't gonna happen. At least not until we can get some truly selfless leaders who aren't looking for clout and financial gain. But I'm Stoneface8. Please like and subscribe if you like the video. It won't cost you a thing. I'll see you all in the next one. Goodbye.